Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers, Abba Yalla.
It's better Shema with all.
Coming back at you with another cold cut. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Right, on this trip back to Chicago, right, we get into a quick exhortation video. It is exhorting the hearts of Israel to stay mighty, stay fervent, especially in these last days. Right, understanding the things we're going through, financial hardships, financial tribulations, distresses, persecutions, but we always want to remember our forefathers went through these things as well. Right, and that if you are going through these things, you're on the right path. You can go to the book of Acts 14:22. Alright. You are on the right path to the kingdom.
It's Acts 14:22. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh.
Right? Through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh. You can pass me my Bible in the back, all the way back up in the shop. Alright? Much tribulation. Right? The Lord didn't say easy. The Lord didn't say a little bit. You may go through it. No, we have to go through much tribulation to enter into the kingdom of the Most High. Alright? Let me give one more precept. Let me go to the book of 2 Thessalonians. Alright? The book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 2 and verse 3. That no man shall be moved by these afflictions. For yourselves know that we are appointed thereunto. So we know we are appointed unto these afflictions. We have to go through these afflictions. Right? The Lord said what? That we can't be moved by these things. That's what the Lord said. You have to be rooted. You have to be grounded. Alright? For verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and you know. So the Lord said, verily, what? Now we have to suffer these tribulations. Right? Verily, you have to go through these things. Verily, of course, you're going to go through financial hardships. Family may come against you. Job may come against you. Whatever it is, man. Right? But we can't be moved by these things. You got it.
Khan, that's right. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22 and 14. Right? This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22 and verse 14. It says, can thine heart endure, or can thy hands be strong? So the Lord is asking everybody a question. He's asking, can your heart endure? And that's enduring all things, the tribulations, the trials. Like the brother said, whatever chastisement or judgment that you may be going through. The Lord said, again, can thine heart endure? Or can thine hands be strong? In the days that I shall deal with thee, I, the Lord, have spoken it and will do it. So if the Lord is putting forth this question, every brother and sister answer should be yes. Right, Khan. Right, my heart can endure. The Lord said in the book of Acts chapter 20 and verse 24, none of these things move me. Let's get that real quick. Acts chapter 20 and 24. Right. It's the book of Acts chapter 20 and verse 24. It says, but none of these things move me, neither count I my life dear unto myself. So whatever the Lord is sending at you in these last days, none of it should be able to move you. As long as you're moving in the spirit and the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, no woman, no man, no friend, no damn pet, right? No infirmities should be able to move you for us. Like should be able to move you with the relationship that you have with the Most High. Right? It says, none of these things move me, neither count I my life dear unto myself. Right? Because this life is not ours. Right? Our life is the Lord's. It reads, so that I might finish my course with joy and the ministry which I have received of the Lord, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. It's like Yahweh Shah HaMashiach to testify the gospel of the grace of God. Hey, so through the Spirit, he said none of these things move me. Right? And again, that's to be our mindset no matter what we're going through. None of these things have to be able to move you off your point, off your pivot. Let's get the classic in 1 Corinthians 15 and 58. Right, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 58. It says, therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable. So the Lord commanded us to be unmovable. Again, that's no wind or wave of doctrine can move you. Satan can't get you off your pivot. Why? Because you're unmovable and you're grounded and you're planted by the living waters, by Yahweh Shai. And again, you can endure all things. How? Because we see through the accounts our forefathers did it. Right? You got countless amount of our fathers that endured. You got Job, right? You got David. You got the greatest example of all times, Yahweh Shai. I mean, you have men back. You have Jeremiah. All of our forefathers endure hardships, laborers' works. And again, we're moving in the spirit of our righteous forefathers. So if they had to endure these certain things, they had to overcome. How much more do we have to overcome while living in the last days? All right, what you got?
I got this. Matthew 24 and 13. Matthew 24 and 13.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Right? He that endured to the end shall be saved. We got no other choice but to endure. Can't complain. Our forefathers didn't complain. Like the brother say, David didn't complain. Abraham didn't complain when Yahweh told him he had to go to another land, right? You know, like, we can't complain, man. It's either endure or go back into the world. Like, it's plain, man. It's either endure or go back into the world. And you go back into the world, you got a nuke on your head, man. As soon as you go back into the world, next thing you know, all hell will break loose. Now it's Jacob's trouble. Now you're gonna be thinking, dang, I should have. Man, it's too late now, man. Yahweh Shai already seen that, right? We got the best examples. Yahweh Shai, David, Abraham, Noah. It's never rained, but he had faith to build that ark. And next thing you know what? It started raining, the flood came. All praise to the Most High, right? We can get Sirach chapter 2. I mean, we gotta endure, man. Brothers broke, you know what I'm saying? Brothers ain't got no job, car broke down, right? I mean, we gotta do this thing, because ultimately this is building our faith up, man. Because in Jacob's trouble, we ain't gonna have no choice but to depend on the Lord to feed us. So if we can't do this now, which is light affliction, then, man, you might as well call it quits. You know what I'm saying? All that sweet stuff gone now. You know, you've been in this truth for a year. You know, you experienced tabernacles. You in the feast days. You with the brothers. Now it's time. The Lord want to see if you really for this. Like, is you really about that? Right? Like Jake said, you really about that? Let's see if you really about that. Do you love me for real? Because if you do, you're gonna do it. Right? Bring that out, guys.
Sirach chapter 2 and verse 1. My son, if thou serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Right? Prepare thy soul for temptation. So it's going to be a lot of demons to plague your mind, tell you to do this, do that, get upset. But prepare your soul for temptation. It's not like we just came in the truth and not know anything. The Lord really gave us the blueprint to endure and prepare ourselves for temptation. Let it be off. The Lord just tell you to, all right, like your father, he, you know, not try to go, you know, in the world with him, but, you know, your father may tell you, all right, go ahead, clean up. You like, man, but a blueprint at what you want me to do. Like, Mom, what, you know what I'm saying? The Lord actually telling us to endure for temptation, giving us the blueprint to have faith, right? I yield with that.
That's right. That's right. Let me go to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 2. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 2. Let's start at verse 46. Then said I unto the angel, what young person is this that crowneth them and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. So Ezra's is seeing an in-depth vision on the elect, right, when they're getting crowned. And let's see the reason. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. What does it mean to be stiff? It's not easily movable. Right, you kind of wake up in the morning, you start stretching, you feel stiff. You're like, my bones, my limbs, I feel stiff. These men and women and children stood stiff for the name of the Lord. They didn't let anything move them while they were in the world, man. They didn't let anything get to them. They didn't let these demons plague their mind. They didn't let these things vex them. That's why they receive crowns. Let's see certain things you got to be stiff against. Let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians. All right, this is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 7, and verse 4. Great is my boldness of wrath. Shlakia. Great is my boldness of speech toward you. Great is my glorying of you. I am filled with comfort. I am exceedingly joyful in all our tribulation. Paul said he's exceedingly joyful in everything he goes through, all the tribulation. You have to have that same spirit. You have to count yourself worthy to go through certain things. And most of the time, I gotta put your life can be easy, like an Edomites, right? You can kind of just do whatever you want to do, go outside at 12 p.m., right? Make your money and just be cool. But that's not the life of the elect. Do you want that Edomite's life to live good in this kingdom that's about to fall, or do you want to live the life of the elect and hope for your city to come? Paul said, I'm joyful in my tribulation. What else? For when we were come to Macedonia, our flesh had no rest. Brothers is tired. Physically and spiritually tired out here, man. Right? And it says, but we were troubled on every side. But we were troubled on every side. Without were fightings, within were fears. Like fighting, getting into brawls. Right? They were fighting demons in the spirit. And within were fears. They didn't know. Paul didn't know sometimes if he was going to make it to see the next day. I mean, just read 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, and all the things that he went through in depth. You're going to figure out why Paul thought that way. Right? And it says, nevertheless, the Most High that comforted those that are cast down, comforted us by the coming of Titus. So the Most High does comfort those that are cast down. And that's exactly what the Lord did. He can send another brother your way to refresh your spirit. He can send another sister your way to refresh your spirit. The Lord can do these things, man. But we can't be moved by these afflictions. We always got to abound and be steadfast, as it says in 1 Corinthians 15:58. What you got?
Let me get this quick precept. This the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse number 10. It says, therefore, I endure all things for the elect's sake. So while you in this truth, you got to remember, you're not just enduring for yourself, right? You're enduring for the rest of the nation. Because, again, you got, the Lord said in Jude 8:24, be an example to our brother. So, and people fail to realize that you're an example to the nation. Or a brother or a sister may realize or fail to realize that they're an example to the nation. So if they're looking at you and they're upholding you to a high standard, and they see you start waxing worse, how much more are they going to wax worse? Right? Again, the Lord. Let me read that again. Right? It says, "For I endure all things for the elect's sake." So remember, if you're a Tarian, right? If you're slowly contending the little things, falling little and little, ultimately you can be perverting the outcome of one of the elect, right? A brother may be in his truth, he was chosen, right? He came into this thing, then they start looking at you, they see you falling short, then they start falling short. Now that's blood on your hands. Why? Because you got somebody that's looking up to you, and ultimately you're supposed to be watching over the flock, watching over the sheep, right? Through your works, being diligent, on fire, steadfast. But what happened? You start waxing worse, and they start waxing worse. Now that's blood on your hands. Not just them, but the other hundreds, right? The other thousands of people that watch you, that look up to you. That's hundreds and thousands of people with blood on your hands you don't even know. So Paul was saying, I endure all things for the elect's sake. So whatever I got to go through, that's for the nation. Right? Like the brother said, you read 2 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, Paul called hell for the nation. He said, let me actually get that. Let me finish this out first. It says, for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahushua with eternal glory. Let's get that real quick. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse number 22. I actually want to jump down and get to the point. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse, I'm going to start at verse 28. Right, so you read verse 22 all the way. I'm going to just read verse 22. Right, 2 Corinthians 11 and 22. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of Hamashiach? I speak as a fool. It says, I am more in labor, more abound in stripes above measure, and prisons more frequent, and deaths oft. So Paul said he's been in prison more than everybody for doing the work. He's had stripes, being beat more than anyone above measure. Verse 24. Of the Jews, 5 times received I 40 stripes, save one. He said 5 times I got whipped. Right? 5 different occasions Paul got whipped 39 times for doing the work. He didn't get whipped because he was going off for, man, that's judgment. You wicked nigger, and I got to judge. No, he was doing the work of the Lord. And 5 different occasions he got beat, right, with a whip. Nobody has gotten beat with a whip as far as I know, right? I don't know a brother or sister personally that got beat for doing the work with a whip 39 times, 5 different occasions, right? It says, reading on verse 25, thrice was I beaten with rods. It said 3 times somebody beat him with just a mighty staff. Just start going to work on 3 different occasions. So he getting whipped, he getting beat. It says, once was I stoned, thrice I suffered shipwreck, a night, a day I have been in the deep, and journeying often, and perils of waters, and perils of robbers, and perils of my own countrymen, and perils by the heathen, and perils in the city, and perils in the wilderness, and perils in the sea, and perils among false brethren. So he went through so much hell for the Lord. I mean, nobody in this present life has went through what he went through. Right? Verse 27. And Paul is a great example of endurance. Because through all the things he went through, we don't see him waxing worse. Right? We don't see him fading, giving up the ghost, right? And losing the faith. No, we see him increasing, being mightier, going harder for the churches. Verse 27, it says, in weariness and painfulness, and watching often. He said, in weariness and painfulness, right? When watching often, and hunger, and thirst, and fastings, often, and cold, and nakedness. This is the point right here, verse 28. It says, beside those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. He said he went through all that for the care of all the churches. Because he wanted to see the churches increase and the love in Yahushua. He wanted to see the churches increase in alms and works. See them increase in getting off sins. And that's the spirit that we got to move in. The churches looked up to Paul, right? And little do you know, you have somebody around this world that looks up to you. Meaning you have to be that, you have to go that much harder, not just for yourself, but for the nation. Read that extra chapter, right? Study for that extra 10 minutes before you go to sleep. Right? Do what you need to do to magnify and glorify the Lord. Even get up early. Do the work. Right? Like I said in 1 Corinthians 15:58, be always abound in the work. Increase your zeal. Why? Because you're not doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for everybody that looks up to you as well. And the Lord looks upon that. Right? That's why it's important for you to endure. Because again, you're not just enduring for yourself. You want this thing for the nation. Right? But you got it.
Alright.
Go on.
Let me get the book of James, chapter 1.
I was already here. Spirit. Yeah, you got it. Alright, this is James chapter 1 and verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations.
Right? Count it all joy when you fall into temptation. Like when the brother brought out Paul, we not even going through that, man. If one of us is going through that, we wouldn't be able to endure, man. This light affliction that we going through. We ain't seen nothing yet, right? So you should count it all joy that we even going through something. Because, I mean, if we wasn't, I mean, are you even in this truth for real, right? Damn near a pastor. I'm saying you should call it joy that, you know, you're going through affliction. Because if we ain't going through anything, like, you might want to question, you know, how you working in this truth, how you moving in this truth, right? Drop down to verse 5.
Verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him.
Right, keep going.
But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Right.
You would jump down to verse 12.
Yeah, just drop down.
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
Blessed is the what?
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation.
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. You don't want to be tossed and fro by the, getting tossed to and fro with these spirits, man. You just letting them overtake you. You just, one bad thought, you let it ruin your whole day. You know what I'm saying? You jam your knee up and you can't walk for 2 weeks, but you making it seem like you can't walk for a whole year. Like, it's brothers out here that's paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got it worse than you. But what you going through, we got to show an example to the brother because somebody is watching, like the brother said, right? So we got to count it all joy that we going through affliction. And we got to make sure we got our head straight because somebody's watching. It's for the whole nation. It's for our brothers and sisters, right? And just because you're going through something doesn't mean that somebody's not going through something worse than you. Because the position you at, somebody would like to be there. You know what I'm saying? Somebody out there with no crib, no car, they ain't eating in 2 months. You know what I'm saying? They probably just skin and bone. And you complaining that you ain't had no money in 2 weeks, but you at least are able to eat some noodles, man. You know what I'm saying? I hear with that.
That's right. Somebody always got it worse. And we always got to remember Yahweh Shah. He is the author and finisher of our temptations, man. We all going through it. You know what I'm saying? It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, and verse 2. Looking unto Yahweh Shah, the author and finisher of our faith. The Lord is the beginning and end of our faith, man. Right? And it says, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Lord, of the Most High. We're trying to be set down, right, in the kingdom of heaven, man. We're trying to have a throne, man. We want to be judging lands. We want to have heathens, but that thing has to be earned. You have to finish the faith. Paul said, I endured, man. Actually, let me get that. Let me get this in 2 Timothy. All right? 2 Timothy 4:6. For I am now ready to be offered in the time of my departure is at hand. So Paul, this is the time Paul knew he's going to go before Nero in Jerusalem and get his head, cut off. He's going to die. He knew this. Verse 7, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Are you going to keep the faith? Are you going to finish your course? Are you going to do what you have to do to survive until the end? Are you going to serve the Lord or die trying? Or are you just going to give up at the end? This is too hard. Let me go back to what I know is easy. I want to go back to complacency. None of your forefathers or foremothers were complacent, so why do you have the luxury to? They weren't. They didn't live that life. They all died for something they've never saw. They all died for something they have never saw, but they had to believe. I mean, what if the Lord came to you and said, this is going to happen in 3,000 years. Write it down and believe it and serve your life saying it to everybody else, whether they believe or not. You living to see these prophecies. Prophecies wasn't rolling back then like that. You got prophecies rolling every day. Our forefathers went to see these things. And you get to see these things. Paul fought a good fight. Now let's verse 8. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto them that also love his appearing, man. So the Lord said there's a crown laid up in righteousness, man, in that day for those that love his appearing. Meaning, guess what? You have to endure. You have to endure. You have to endure these different things. Let me get another one real quick. All right. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15 and verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Your labor is not in vain. You have to be abounding at all times. Your work is being recorded before the angels, the good and the bad. Read Ecclesiastes 12 and 14. It's being recorded. Let's keep the faith and keep going.
It's the book of this is the book of Philippians, chapter 3 and verse number 13. Somebody pull that, Philippians 3:13.
Philippians
3:13. Did you pull that?
No.
Okay, come. It's Philippians 3:13. It says, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before." So we have to reach forth to those things which are before. The world, right, the lust of the world, all those things are behind. Yesterday was behind. Or you can't dwell on yesterday. If you had a bad day through the Spirit, you went off, hey, well, guess what? That's behind. Paul said, hey, I'm reaching forth to those things that's before me now. That's in front of me. What's in front of us? Everlasting life, the kingdoms, right? The kingdom, the promises. The Lord has countless of promises laid up for us. All we have to do is just endure this present life. All right, a brother was talking the other day. He was saying, if we endure this present life, then we're going to be the first runners of the kingdom of heaven. And that's deep. Right? You're going to be the start of the new world, the foundation of the new world. You're going to be the spiritual Adam, right? Starting off, kicking off the next life to come. And that's deep. And you can kick off the next life to come if you just endure this present life, right? But that next life is everything that you could ever wish for on the right-hand side, right? Everlasting life, seeing your forefathers, eating with your forefathers. You don't got to worry about no taxes or being broke. You're living as a king and as a princess. You got your Habashah to the right hand of you. You got slaves and dominion. All that you can have if we just endure this present life. Right, reading on. It says 14. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Right, and all we have to do is just press toward that mark. Again, the kingdom is already set for us. It's already finished. Right, everything is already laid out. Right, the elect is already chosen. All we got to do is put in that work now to seal the hopeful elect, to work, endure, that Lord willing we may get the kingdom and get everlasting rest in due season. Right, this is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse number 4. It says, so that we ourselves glory in you and the churches of God for your patience and faith in all your persecutions, and that ye endure. It's like persecutions and tribulations that ye endure. So Paul said, through all the glory, through all the persecution and tribulation, endure. Again, all of our forefathers endured. There's no excuse why you can't endure. And just read the book of Job. We read 2 Corinthians 11. Read the book of Jeremiah. Right? Read Genesis. Read the Bible and see how our forefathers endured all things. You had Abraham. The Lord told him to put his own son to death. Right? That's deep. And he was going to do it. Why? Because he knew he had to endure all things. The love that he had for the Lord superseded all things. You have to have that love for the Lord to where you can do all things and endure all things for the Lord's sake, man. Well, let's go to the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse number 12. It's like 1 Timothy chapter 1. Let me see what I want. I'm going to start at verse 1 Timothy chapter 1 and 12. Right? I believe that's what I want. Salakia. I have to find that precept. Here it is. 1 Timothy 6 and 12. Salakia. It's the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse number 12. It says, fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called, and hast professed a good profession before many witnesses. He said, fight the good fight of faith, man. And a fight is not easy, right? You're literally fighting. You're literally getting jumped every day on a spiritual level. You got to fight the amount of demons that come at you. You got to fight the spirits that your woman may have on her. You got to endure this present world, right? You got to endure the workplace. You got to endure literally all things. You got to endure infirmities in the flesh. You got to endure the financial problems. That's why the Lord said, fight the good fight of faith. Why? Because when you fight, you're slowly increasing every day. You're increasing in the spirit of faith. You're increasing in might. You're literally feeding your spirit and giving it what it needs when you fight. When you're not fighting, you're getting beat down by these demons. And when you're getting beat down, you're getting jumped every day. Eventually those demons going to end up knocking you out. knocking your spirit out. Next thing you know, you back in the world. Like the brother Shmuel all said, you back in the world about to taste the missile. All because you didn't want to fight. That's why the Lord, I'm read that again, 1 Timothy 6:12. Fight the good fight of faith. Lay hold on eternal life, whereunto thou art also called, and has professed a good profession before many witnesses. And this is a profession right here. Oh, this is a professional job. Being a man of the Lord is a professional job. This isn't just a hobby. This is an everyday thing. This is a gift that the Lord has blessed us with, that he literally counted us worthy to be put into the ministry. Let's get that in 1 Timothy. All right, let's get that in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number, let me see what I want. Salakia. Right, 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 12. It says, and I thank Hamashiach Yahushai, our Lord, who hath enabled me, for that he counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry. You have to remember that the Lord counted you faithful, right? The Lord counted us faithful to be put into this ministry. A lot of people we didn't count faithful to be put into the ministry. You have a lot of people that's still in the world. Paul, and that's deep, because we didn't do nothing to deserve to be in this truth. Yet he still said he counted me faithful. Right, reader? No, and if the Lord counted you faithful to be in this truth, and you know that you're nothing, you know that you was a wicked man in the world, yet he still looked at you as a faithful person, that should make you go that much harder. Right, reader? No, in verse 13, it says, who was before a blasphemer and a persecutor and injurious, but I obtained mercy because I did it ignorantly and in unbelief. So a little before time, we was all wicked. Right, we were sinners. Some brothers was murderers, robbers, adulterers, backbiters, right, Sabbath breakers. Everybody has their so-called past. Nevertheless, if the Lord counted us worthy after that past that we had to allow us to be in this truth, you should want to go that much harder for Yahushua. I mean, this same man died on the cross for you. He shed his blood for you. He got beat and scourged and got a crown of thorns placed on his head for you, for us. And this should have us go that much harder, including myself too, going harder for the Lord, doing whatever we can do to continue to find different ways to magnify and glorify His holy name to the fullest. All right, let me get this in Sirach, chapter 17, and verse number 10. Sirach, chapter 17, and verse number 10. Right, because this is what the elect is gonna do. Right, Sirach chapter 17 and verse number 10, it says, and the elect shall praise his holy name, and everybody should be striving to be that elect, so we can praise and magnify the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. But that can't happen if you don't endure. That's why the Lord said, he that endures until the end, the same shall be saved, like the brother brought out earlier. Right, but you got it.
Oh, you got it. You got Sirach chapter 2.
Sirach chapter 2 and verse 10. And it says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded?
Is it even written that our forefathers trusted in the Lord and was confounded? Right? Yahushua came out the cross. Right? David just get stones thrown at him, and he just said, all right, it's cool. Forget it. Start crying and slouch. His countenance fell, right? You ain't see none of those in the accounts, right? Keep reading.
Or did any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken?
Right. Did any one of them was forsaken? I mean, it come to a point in time where we read these accounts, even myself, our forefathers was never confounded. Never confounded, right? The Lord never forsook us. So that's plain that we should endure, man. I mean, if you're not going to endure, you might as well go back into the world, man. You might as well go back into the world, right? Give me the book of Judith, chapter 7. Because it's gonna be a point in time where, you know, in Jacob's trouble, we ain't gonna have no waters. just gonna have to depend on the Lord.
It's the book of Judith, chapter 7, verse 1.
Verse 19.
Verse 19. Then the children of Israel cried unto the Lord their God, because their heart failed. For all their enemies had compassed them round about, and there was no way to escape out from among them.
Right? Are you gonna cry unto the Lord when all hell break loose? When you're dealing with spirits? When you ain't got no money in your pocket? Are you gonna cry unto the Lord? Are you gonna endure to have faith that the Most High will pull you out of that situation? I mean, if you're not gonna do that, man, I mean, why you got fringes on? You know what I'm saying? Why are you in this truth in the first place? Are you really trying to get the kingdom? Or are you just trying to say you're an Israelite? You know what I'm saying? Like, I yield with that.
That's right. That's right. I mean, at the end of the day, man, you have to endure. You have to fight. Let me end with this. You are in this life to fight. You are born in a war between you and you. Right? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 57. Then answered me and said, this is the condition of the battle. These are the terms and agreements of the battle. Right? What? That which man that is upon the earth shall fight. You will fight. It's not an option. It's gonna happen. You have to fight. That if he be overcome, if you lose, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, if you win, he shall receive the thing that I say. And we know the thing that the Lord said. That reward. So we gotta fight. We gotta keep going in this truth. And we can't faint in these last days because we know what's to come. You got it.
This the book. It's the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13, and verse number 7. Man, I'm gonna start at verse 7. It says, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. And that's plain. It said endureth all things, man. Literally for your family, right? For the Lord, for the elect, your household, your own spirit. Endure all things. Why? Because again, it's light at the end of that tunnel. It's 2nd Ezra chapter 5 and verse number 3. It says, and the land that thou seest now to have root shall suddenly be wasted. But if the Most High grant thee to live, right, if you endure, and the Most High grant you to live, it says, thou shalt see after the third trump, that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. Right? And the Lord's going to show you that light. If he grants you to live, all you have to do is do your part and endure for the Lord. Right? And I'm going to end it off with the same precept we started off with through the Spirit. It's Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 14. Can thine heart endure? Or can thy hands be strong? And the day that I shall deal with thee, I, the Lord, have spoken it, and I will do it. Ask yourself, can your heart endure? And when you ask yourself that, tell yourself yes. And begin to go harder for Yahweh Bashem Yahushua.
That's right.
All right. Give me the book of Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 10. See that? All our might got to be on the Lord. All your strength has to be on the Lord, not on vain things.
Ephesians 6 and 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
Right? Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, right? We soldiers in this thing. So the order you to have faith, you have to lean upon the Lord. And if you actually keeping these commandments, meditating in the precepts, going into the counsel of our forefathers, you'll know that the Lord got us, man. In any situation. When did you see our forefathers that got confounded and forsaken? None. So put on the whole armor of God, right? Of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and endure. That's it, gang.
Calm. And with that, we like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. Continue to endure. This is a quick exhortation video, but Lord willing, this is enough to get you through your day. And Lord willing, if you know somebody that needs this video, then pass this on. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Like to be the mighty strong. Shalom.
Shalom.